The underfront is one of the oldest and most common looks in defensive football, and in this video, we're going to talk about how to beat it. Now, this video is from the underfront. I did post a poll on my Twitter account asking what fronts we wanted to see, and throughout the summer, I'm going to be posting polls like that. We're going to talk about how to beat different fronts, how to beat different coverages, and breaking down different plays in the Shanahan system. So if you want to be able to vote on those, go follow me on Twitter, and let's dive into attacking the underfront. So the underfront is one of the most common looks in defense, but what we see in our area at least, teams don't normally actually base out of it. What we get more often than not is the tight front, but we do see a lot of underfront whenever we shift to different variations of 21 personnel. So teams generally will base out of some form of odd front, and then whenever we get in 21 personnel, they'll bring the outside linebacker down, shift the backside 4-eye to a 3, bump the nose to a 1, and then bump the strong side defensive end out into a 5. So now that's where the underfront comes in. So here we have it, and what really characterizes the underfront is a strong side B-gap bubble. So again, teams normally get to this by shifting this nose from a head up 0 to a 1, taking a defensive end, whether it's a 4-eye or a 4, and putting him in the C gap to the strong side, and then putting both outside linebackers down because they don't have the threat of a number 2 receiver out wide. But that's just what we see. Right here, we've got 11 personnel and an underfront drawn up to that, and this is going to be a really aggressive defense. We're in a balanced formation, and this is actually really a balanced defense. If we think about the front, we have 7 gaps. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gaps. They have the innermost gap occupied with a defensive lineman, and then each of the outside 2 gaps on either side are covered, with the 2 inside gaps outside of the very middle gap being held by linebackers. And then as far as DBs go, you've got 2 over 2 and 2 over 2. Based on the defense we're facing, that will dictate how they handle the running back. Some it'll be a blitz peel off the edge. Some it'll be like a banjo with the inside linebackers, whichever side the running back flares to, that's who would cover him. But in general, this is going to be a very aggressive defense, and it's a very balanced defense. And generally, one of my thought processes with attacking defenses is if they want to be balanced, then we need to get unbalanced. And that doesn't mean we have to go tackle over. We're in 2x2 right now. 3x1 is another form of unbalanced. All right, so now we're in 3x1, and we have really challenged the structural integrity of the defense. What we get the most is like this. We still get that 7-man box, and then we get a rotation to single high. So what we have here is essentially 2x2 to the twins to the strong side. We've got 1 over 1 backside. And then again, we've got that post safety. He's really keying the Y, but his integrity is challenged because he also has to be able to fit the run on the backside as the quarterback player on a read option. So against a balanced defense, we want to find ways to get unbalanced. And there are certain things we could do in the pass game, but that would kind of be more along the lines of attacking cover 3 or different things like that. With these videos against different fronts, we're really going to be looking at the run game. And the first run play we're going to look at is going to be zone read. Now with these, it really could be inside zone or outside zone. It's going to attack the defense similarly. It's just about where do you want the aiming point. Both can work, but we're going to read this backside 5 technique. And this works because if we get a give read, then that means that we are 6 on 6 in the box. The free safety is the player that we can't really block. I'm still going to try personally. With the zone read backside, the X would be blocking the corner. I'm still going to try and get this F up to the free safety, and I like to have receivers on the play side block their inside player. I really don't care if this corner wants to make the tackle. We may or may not get to the free safety, but we have the other 6 players in the box blocked, and if the free safety makes the tackle, it's going to be happening 7-8 yards past the line of scrimmage. Where this really challenges the defense is, let's say that we get a pull read for the quarterback. The wheel chases down the running back. We get the quarterback running out the backside. The free safety is the only player that can make this tackle, and we do not see very many free safeties that can handle being a backside quarterback player whenever the run action is going away from that responsibility. A lot of times free safeties are kind of reading quarterbacks at the snap, so they see the run action going to the right, they're going to go that way. If the will also chases the running back, then there is nobody for the quarterback if we can get that corner blocked by the X. Now, after we've hit them with some strong side zones, especially if it's outside zone, I really like to come back with GT counter bash. And something I really like to do on GT bash if we have a play side B gap defensive lineman is that's kind of normally who I like to trap. Because the quarterback is working laterally with the running back on the bash action, it makes the point of attack a little bit easier for the quarterback because it's more inside. Instead of having to get all the way back outside that double team, it really allows him to hit the counter tighter and get to the point of attack earlier. So we can do it either way. That's just how I'm going to draw it up here. We've got the play side tackle blocking out the will. Since we're going to be trapping and kicking the 3, the guard can go straight to the mic. We're going to block back on the nose with the center, going to kick the 3, backside tackle wrap for the jack. And then what I like to do here is we have our Y still reaching the SAM as if it were an outside zone, and we can read the defensive end. So the defensive end has been getting hit by outside zone, maybe an inside zone. He gets this sweep action from the running back, thinks he's got a free shot at the running back, quarterback pulls it, hits it right up the A gap. Free safety, same thing. He's been flowing over, trying to make the tackle. If that's the case and the quarterback gets a pull read, we get everybody blocked up front. He is off to the races. Now for receivers here, since they're on the back side of the run, I would go ahead and have them block the strong safety in the corner, but that's just a personal preference. Last play we will look at here from trips is going to be power read. And yes, we're getting the quarterback involved in all these. We have 7 players in the front and we have 6 blockers. That means we need to read somebody in the front. And in order to do that, the quarterback has to be involved in the run game. Now with the running back on the weak side, this would be speed option power read. So the running back is going to be the outside player. The quarterback is going to be the inside player. It's going to be blocked up the same. Since we are running power read to this side and we're not getting that bash action with the running back, we would go ahead and put the double team on the 3 here, read the 5 technique, blocking back on the nose, got the backside guard wrapping around for the jack, and then we are 2 for 2 on the backside. This play doesn't excite me quite as much as the previous 2 because there's no counter action. The free safety can go ahead and try and make this play and there's nothing really we can do about it. If the will forces the pitch and the free safety overlaps to the halfback, this could be a minimal gain, but it is an option nonetheless. All right, let's take a look at what we can do here with the running back on the strong side of the trips formation. And we're going to go right back to it. We can go to normal power read with the cross action for the halfback and the quarterback being the one running the power. I do like this version a good bit better. We're going to block it up the exact same way. 2 for 2 on the backside, reading the will. The reason I like this better is because what we're going to get really often, especially being a primary zone team, this will is probably going to force a keep read, and then the free safety really just goes with the eye candy. Now, if they both take the running back like this and the quarterback makes the right read, he just has to stay tight and then sprint down the hash. All right, next up, we're going back to zone. It's going to be drawn up the same on paper, but again, it could be inside or outside zone, and there's a few different ways that we can handle the backside here. Traditional rules would be to get a C combo between the backside tackle and the tight end up to the mic, and we can read the SAM, but this is really my least favorite way to do it because we don't do a whole lot of Y's in zone combos. We can do Zorro stuff, but if we're talking about comboing with an offensive lineman, we just don't practice that very often. So I wouldn't want to need to practice that. Whenever we can make this adjustment, we can send the backside tackle straight to the mic and just block back on the SAM and read the defensive end. So halfback's running zone, quarterback could get a pull read. Receivers here, X would be going to the free safety since he doesn't have a read on his side of the play. And since we are blocking the SAM, we would be 2 for 2 on the backside for a quarterback keeper as well. Now, my favorite way to do this is to, instead of block the SAM, we turn it into triple option. So the way we would do that is send the Y to the flat, and then now the SAM is the triple read. So the quarterback reads the defensive end. If he gets a pull read, now the eyes go to the SAM. The SAM can't play the flat and the quarterback. We get the strong safety and the corner blocked by our 2 receivers. So the SAM really has to pick. And again, who's the only other player that can make this play? It is the free safety in the middle of the field who more often than not is going to chase the eye candy of the backfield action. Now, the one way I like to run the Y flat RPO even better than off of zone is off of GT counter. So since it's not bash, we'll go ahead and take the 3 technique back to the mic, guard, come and kick the will, backside tackle, wrap for the jack. Same deal, reading the defensive end for the give or keep and reading the SAM for the pitch read for the Y. And as long as we aren't getting scrape exchanges between the defensive end and the mic, this is one of my favorite plays in football. Get into trips, run Y flat on the backside of a GT counter. The scrape exchange does also kill the bash play, so that's something to be aware of with the running back on the other side that we looked at earlier. If that defensive end stays home and the mic goes to take the running back, then it kills the play. This video is brought to you by the all-in-one player information spreadsheet. This spreadsheet will calculate max percentages and update your player prospect sheet automatically. If you are still calculating maxes by hand, then manually updating the prospect sheet for college recruiters, this resource is for you. Learn how to get back your time with this time-saving resource in the description below. All right, so let's take a look at 12 personnel here. We're adding another gap, and so what we see a lot here is the defenses are just going to keep their odd structure. We're in regular double tight here, 2 3-man surfaces. This is a balanced formation, so defenses are generally going to stay balanced. Got the down outside linebackers, 2 inside linebackers, and then 2 safeties, and everybody is involved in fitting a run. With the running back on the left side, the way that I would fit these runs if I were defenses, still slinging the fits. We've got the will responsible for the backside gap, the jack going to be responsible for the C gap, and then we're keeping our normal tight front run fits from here. That allows the free safety to be the quarterback player on a keep read by the quarterback. So that was 2x2. Generally what we get from 3x1 is they're going to knock the front. NOC, they're going to declare a new offensive center. They're going to treat the strong side guard like the center and bump everybody over a gap. So this is going to allow defenses to keep that same run fit. It's just bumping everybody over a gap from where they were originally. Now this is what a defense that shifts to an under front against 3x1 could potentially look like, especially if they wanted to stay too high. So we've got a Sam that's going to be shooting the crease between the tight end and the wing, and then we're back to our under front from here. We've got a 5 technique, we've got a 1 to the strong side, 3 and a 5 backside with inside linebackers fitting the gaps. There's quite a few things that we can do to this look, and chief among them, in my opinion, is going to be outside zone strong. If this Sam is anywhere except outside of the fullback and we can make sure that we get the edge right here, that is going to be preferable. And that would be Zap. As far as the Shanahan system's concerned, Zap would take them up to the strong safety. What we could also consider here is Zap Cat, where they're going to push this Sam to the corner and then crack the strong safety with the Z to really make sure that we can create an alley for the running back. In order to do this, we're going to need to make sure we've got a play side tackle that can reach a 5, and then it's just zone blocking rules from there. Something to consider here is against a too high defense, if they want to stay too high after shifting to under, would be the backside defensive end. Now, I would not want to zone read this because let's say that the end forces a keep read, the quarterback rolls out, and there's a free safety ready to jump him. Even if you have the X block the free safety, as long as the defense can halfway decently crack replace, the corner is going to be there as well. So what we could do instead is change the path of the running back. And I wrote about this on Substack Wide Zone Warriors this past week. We could run top Zap Cat, or what some people call spinner, where the running back is actually going to go behind the quarterback before he gets to his landmark. The quarterback's going to open up and hand it off behind him and then fake his keeper from there. What that's going to do is it's going to put more distance between the running back and the will. It's also going to put more distance between the running back and the play side defensive end. Remember I said we need a play side tackle that can reach him if we can't reach him, and he's threatening to cut off the zone if we were running a traditional zone path. Top is going to be a great way to make sure we can get all the way around it and get the running back to the point of attack. What that is inevitably going to do before long, if they're giving up the play side edge like that, is the defense is eventually going to rotate. They're going to bring the strong safety down. Maybe they widen the Sam out. Maybe they don't. Maybe they put the strong safety in this outside gap. But either way, they're going to be some kind of rotation. And what we have here from essentially inside of the tight end is the exact same defensive front that we had when the F was split out into 11 personnel trips. So all the same things we did to attack the weak side in trips are things we can do here. One of the differences would be GT counter bash. We would now combo that Sam to the strong safety with the tight end and the fullback, and then we would block everything up the same up front for the bash play, reading that defensive end. We can still run power read weak, whether we keep the running back on the weak side and run speed option or toss power read, or we put the running back on the strong side and run regular power read with the running back coming across and the quarterback running the power. Only other difference with the running back weak would be if we were running zone read. It would also turn this block on the Sam into a combo up to the strong safety, where everybody else is still running their normal zone rules. This video is sponsored by GameStrat. GameStrat is the most reliable sideline replay system on the market due to their wired connection from press box camera to router, which also speeds up loading times on the field. One of GameStrat's best features is custom playlists, which allows coaches to tailor replays in-game instead of sorting through clips in the short amount of time between drives. Simply hit a colored star on a play that you want to review either on your own or to show a player when they come off the field. So we've gone over 11 personnel and 12 personnel. So we've gone through 11 personnel, we've gone through 12 personnel. Here we have 21 personnel, and this is my favorite way to attack the underfront. The reason is because we now have a more mobile gap, a movable gap lead blocker with the fullback. Yes, we can do different things with him when he's attached in a wing in 12 personnel, but that wing adds another gap for the defenses to fit. So they're going to react differently to 12 personnel than they will 21. From a defensive perspective here, they still have every gap covered without using the safeties. So what we're going to get a ton of here is too high drawn up just like this. The reason, in my opinion, being is that if they were to rotate the strong safety down, again, he doesn't really have a gap to fit here, and it would be way too easy for us to run weak if they bring this free safety back over the top. So here we have a defense that appears to be balanced. They have 7 defenders for 7 gaps, but that doesn't factor in our movable gap, the F. So with 11 personnel, we had 6 blockers for 7 defenders. With 12 personnel, assuming a rotation, we had 7 blockers for 8 defenders. Here, if they want to stay too high, we have 7 blockers for 7 defenders, and that's going to allow us to find who the extra fitter is going to be and read him instead of having to run a first level read, a read option play with the quarterback. My number one favorite way to do this is with the weasel play off of zone. So weasel tells the fullback he's going to insert to the play side linebacker the +1. We're going to have the Y and the right tackle here taking care of the 9 and the 5. Then our right guard and center get to work back to the jack, and we are 2 for 2 on the backside. So we've got the halfback going here. This would be my preference on an outside zone play. We have everybody up front blocked. So who's going to come make this tackle? Most likely scenario is it's the strong safety. He's the unblocked defender to the play side. So what can we do to read him? We can run a glance with the Z. And here we get to one of my core offensive philosophies, and that is we want to find where we're going to be one-on-one and position somebody to win that matchup. In the box, we have 7 for 7. That is 1 for 1 when it's simplified down. To the perimeter, we are 1 for 1 with the Z and the corner. The player that we can't account for is this strong safety. So is he going to make it 8 on 7 in the box? If so, we're 1-on-1 to the perimeter, throw the glance. Is he going to stay high and make it 2 for 1 on the Z? Then again, we're 1 for 1 in the box. So we can read the safety to decide whether or not to throw the glance or to run the ball. So that would be my preference play off of outside zone. For inside zone, generally inside zone is designed to cut back. So with that in mind, I prefer to bring the fullback back. For the backside linebacker, this would be man. We'll still get the tight end on the 9, the right tackle on the defensive end, but now instead of working to the backside linebacker, the right guard and the center here are going to work to the +1, and then we are still 2 for 2 on the backside. Again, we've got the same idea. We can run the glance. The other option here is if maybe we don't have a Z that can beat that corner, we either motion him in or run this into the boundary, do something to where he can take care of that strong safety, and then we force a corner to make a tackle. Next up, we're going to run GF counter. We're going to run this one same side because the F is on the backside just based on the formation we've got drawn up here. And something to consider here with the strong side run, we have a B gap defender, and what we might want to consider here, we have a B gap defender. It's a same side run, so we're going to hit it a little bit more downhill. Maybe again, we want to make it to where we're going to kick the 3 And then the fullback is still going to have the jack. We're 2 for 2 on the backside. Again, we're 7 for 7 in the box. Who's the only player that can really make this play feasibly? That would be the free safety. So here we could run an X glance and pick on the free safety. If we wanted to run counter to the right side, the same side that the fullback is on, we could run crisscross counter, or what in the Shanahan system would be called counter sift, where it's going to be GT counter and the fullback is going to cross backside for the backside defensive end. And then we're still going to get the halfback running the counter. So we let the fullback go first, get a little crisscross action in the backfield, a little eye candy for the linebackers, hopefully frees them up a little bit. And again, because we don't just have the Y work with the offensive lineman a ton, something that I would prefer to do here is just block out on the 9 technique and kick the 5, still wrapping to the +1. And especially against this front, it's going to allow us to get really lateral and open up a hole at the line of scrimmage. The center's got to go all the way back to the 3, so he's going to have to get really flat. The right guard has the nose, he's in the A gap, but he doesn't have any help. And then the right tackle here has the jack. He's going to have to get flat to make sure he doesn't get squeezed down by the defensive end. But since everybody's 1 for 1, we can really focus on building this wall in between with the backside tackle leading through it. Now this would be another scenario. We can read the play side safety with the Z, or again, we can bring him in and have him block the play side safety, the strong safety here. But this is a fantastic play against a box where we have a hat for a hat. All right, just because we have a hat for a hat in the box doesn't mean that we can't read somebody. Now, I do want to pick my spots like we talked about earlier. Don't want to have anybody coming off the backside edge and then the free safety having a free shot on the quarterback, but we do have some ways around that. And the first way we can handle that is with a Grizz block off of zone read. Again, this one could be inside, could be outside, but what the Grizz is going to do is it's going to have the fullback fake a sift on the defensive end and loop around for the most dangerous man. Here would be the free safety. Now we could run regular sift, have a 7 for 7 box. Now I do like regular sift against an even box. We can read a glance off of that as well. So maybe we've hit him with that a couple times. This Will is tired of getting split zone blocked by the fullback. We can read him and then just run our regular zone rules from there. Again, could be inside, could be outside. Right here, we would definitely want the Z to come block the strong safety because we're not going to read the Will for a give keep read and then read the strong safety for an RPO. That would not make sense mechanically. So here the quarterback is reading the Will for the give read. If he gets a keep read, he is going to follow the fullback around the edge. He'll have the fullback leading for the free safety and the X block in the corner. Now, I also did a breakdown a few weeks ago, the Rams and the 49ers mobile quarterback run game, and something that they did I thought was really interesting is they would run what I would call Grizz Cat. And instead of going to the free safety, the fullback would have the corner and the X would keep his normal rule of blocking the free safety. So just another way to change it up on the backside, especially if we're getting a keep read for the quarterback and a pressed corner. That's a long time for the X to maintain that block on the corner. So this would be a way to get the X on somebody else, let the blocks time up a little bit better if we are consistently getting keep reads and no scrape exchanges from the jack. Another play that I really like against this is going to be power read with the F leading around the edge. So again, we're going to get the tight end blocking out here. We want to read the 5. Just makes rules a little bit easier. It makes practice time a little bit easier, not having to have the tight end work with the offensive line as much. So the fullback is going to help on that. This would be similar to Zorro, except the fullback here would have outside half. And base rule is they're going to be working up to the safety. Still going to have the halfback coming across. The quarterback would be keeping the power that we would block up the exact same way that we have been, get the center going back to the 3, and then we don't have to worry about the free safety being unblocked backside because both the quarterback and the running back are attacking on the front side of the play. Base rules would have the Z on the corner. Again, an option here would be to cat it and crack the strong safety with the Z and take the Sam out to the corner. This would just be another way to change it up if this is something that we're going to run a lot of that week against an underfront. So if we wanted to run power read weak here, we could flip the fullback and the halfback and run it the same way we just talked about. If this halfback were the fullback, he'd be leading on the free safety here and everything else would be the same. But we can also run power read shovel. We're going to block it up the same way we normally would, double the 3, wrap the guard to the +1, and we're 2 for 2 on the backside. First read would be the Will, and our backfield action is going to be this. It's going to look like speed option. The halfback is the pitch player, but we aren't in the pitch phase yet. The quarterback is going to be attacking the Will. If the Will takes the quarterback, he's going to pitch it to the fullback, who's going to be running right behind the guard. So the fullback here is the one who's actually going to be running the power. If the wheel comes up to take the quarterback, then the quarterback is going to shovel it here to the F, and he's going to follow his guard running the power. This is a fantastic goal line play because the free safety doesn't have enough time to get involved here. Whereas more in the open field, the wheel can force the pitch, and then they can know if it's coming, the free safety can fit inside the fullback. But on the goal line, there's not enough time for that. Now, let's say the will is disciplined. He gets a down block and squeezes it down, forcing a keep read for the quarterback. The next read becomes the free safety. He's going to be the pitch read, and this can happen 5 yards downfield. Whenever, as long as they stay in a pitch relationship, the quarterback and the halfback, it can occur whenever, as far as I'm concerned. Quarterback gets outside the will, they're both running up the field, and then whenever the decision needs to be made, they're going to pitch off the free safety. Another option here would be, again, we could cat and crack the free safety and then make the corner the pitch read. Again, just another way to skin a cat here with the power read shuffle. Last thing I want to look at here is the slot run game. So we're in a single width formation, and we're probably going to get some version of this. We're going to have 2 over 2 to the twin side, and then 1 DB outside and 1 DB over the top and inside of the tight end. What a lot of teams are going to want to do is they don't want that corner to be the force player on the edge, so they can invert the corner and the safety. The other option would be to go corners over, leave the free safety in the middle of the field. Either way, we're going to get some version of the 4 DBs kind of spaced out like this. And what we really have here is now we have somebody who can actually block the force player on the weak side. We have ways that we can account for the strong safety here, especially if we want to maybe read the backside end on a zone read. But what I'm really going to want to do here is attack weak, because we can get everybody blocked and potentially even an extra lead blocker for the free safety. Now, we're not going to go over every single play. A lot of the plays we just talked about will work here because the front is still intact as far as the balance goes, where we've got the 7 defenders and 7 gaps. I do want to highlight a couple specific scenarios here. The first one would be power read with the F leading weak, and that's because we're going to get a lead blocker for the free safety. So this would be our power read. We're 2 for 2 on the backside. We read the will, and we can get the fullback leading around the edge, and he can block the free safety. We could do some version of a cat where he's going to block a corner and we can crack the free safety. But either way, we're going to get everybody on the front side blocked here, including the post safety. The only person we have unaccounted for is a backside rolled down safety. It's going to be a long time before he ever makes that play. Last thing we'll look at here are some split zone options. So we're going to get our zone going weak. Again, these could be inside or outside zones. If we want to get the Y in combination, we can. We can run our Grizz again and get the fullback on that rotated down strong safety. Other option with that would be, again, to read the 5, get the tight end working back as well, and get the right tackle straight up to the mic. But if we don't mind the tight end being in combination with the defensive end here, we can get a little bit tricky. We can send the F to the flat and bring back our triple option. Quarterback read the SAM, the 9 technique for the give or keep read, and then read that rotated safety for the keep or pitch read. And on paper, the free safety in the middle of the field is the only one who can balance this play out for the defense. So we generally thought about the under front as being an adjustment for odd front teams. And the biggest odd front that we face is the tight front. A lot of times we're going to see those two paired together, where the tight front is the base front and then the under front is the adjustment. So if you want to see how I like to attack the tight front, click on the screen and watch this next video.